What up, Dokkanners? You managed to pull the LR Vegeta with your free summon, with some extra summons, whatever the case may be. You have the character, or you just want to know how to run a team with the character. So today we're going to be going through some of the best teams to run with the LR God Vegeta plus Sea Urchin. Just know this is my opinion based on my own personal feelings on which abilities and things are more important. When it comes to putting together the best team for a new character, it's all about bringing all of those abilities out and making the most out of it. And unfortunately, considering that this character is such a disaster in terms of team construction and passives, we're going to have to be relying on Crossover and Realm of Gods. Crossover is an abysmal category, unless by the time you're watching this video, or maybe afterwards, they announce some major EZAs. Otherwise, Crossover is just very much not required for the core timeline of Dokkan. Realm of Gods has been improving steadily, but this is still not as good and top tier as other categories. So because these are the two categories that we're going to be relying on, it is going to limit somewhat what I would consider optimal versus just runnable. I am focusing on the optimal team. So if you guys have your own team ideas, feel free to share them in the comments down below. I could not possibly go over every single combination of team builds. So what I did is I basically looked through some of his best lead units, and we are going to be not only putting together some teams with him as our lead, but also running him on some other teams with some good leads, like this guy, this dude, this guy. But there are a lot more options to choose from, and since his leader skill and his category combinations are weird, you might find yourself having to resort to some of these options down the road. Big shout out to Dokkan Stats and Dokkan Database. I'm using both of these sites to put together everything for this video. Dokkan Database is where I'm seeing all the nice leader skill stuff, and Dokkan Stats is where we're going to be doing our team building. And then at the end of the video, I'm also going to try to put together a couple of no new units teams, because I think I can already just say crossover no new units is impossible. By the way, speaking of, let me just quickly summarize what this guy does. He, with all conditions proccing, he is a 90% damage reduction unit early. He wants to get hit, and when he does, he will retaliate very much. Very much. Main super, passive super number 1, passive super number 2, passive super number 3, hit a potential super. That could be 5 supers all happening. All the while, you are massively raising attack on the 18 key, greatly raising, and then maybe even further greatly raising. So the damage potential is insane. You are going to be able to potentially do a lot of damage with this unit, which is what makes it fun. It's sort of the RNG dependent roulette nature of the character. His key is RNG dependent, getting hit is RNG dependent. If you do have a full crossover team, the damage reduction is going to make a significant difference. He also has abilities where he can remove negative effects both on himself and allies. For the allies, it happens with the active skill when he awakens. When he awakens himself, he can nullify negative effects on himself when there's a crossover ally attacking in the same turn. So this will actually sort of compensate for the fact that you want him to be intercepting attacks. Normally, the big issue with the slot 1 unit is that they are destined to potentially intercept a stun or a seal. But with this guy's ability to nullify negative effects, the dodge is far less of an issue early on. As he loses some of his damage reduction and some of his durability, then you might want to rely on some dodge later on. But we're not going to talk about that so much in this video. So that being said, he's got high potential for damage, and he is going to be a more frequently appearing character. How can we make that work with some of his best teams? Let's go ahead and jump in, and let's put together our first squad here. So I'm going to show the first team build and how I do it. And then after that, I'm just going to skip through so that you guys can, we don't have to sit through all of it. So we're going to be putting together our first crossover best team. What is our best crossover team that we can do here? So let's find Universal Blue. We got the new crossover characters, that physical. Is he physical? Is he extreme physical or is he super? No, he's extreme. Okay. Then we got, what is it? Toa Mira. There you are. And then the new guys, Super Int Xeno Trunks. And the last one, I don't know. Where are you? All right. So this is going to be, oh, right. Let me move this over there and let me do this. All right. So this is our first team that we're going to be going through. Our best crossover team possible with the new unit as our main lead. A lot of new characters here. So if you don't have a lot of these pieces, you're probably not going to run this. And as of me recording this video, we don't exactly know what fate lies for crossover over the next 2 weeks. At the moment, we don't think that we don't know of any EZAs coming up, but there should be next week. That will totally change the dynamic of this team and what works on these teams. Also, spoiler alert, you're going to be seeing these two on an awful lot of teams. They will work very well together. And yeah, you're gonna want to be on the lookout for some nice juicy crossover characters that you might have in your lineup, because that will help make this guy more consistent. Anyway, our best team for crossover right now would be double Vegeta plus Universal Blue, and then all the new guys, and then whatever other crossover character you have. So since the Vegeta wants to be in the slot 1, intercepting all attacks, Universal Blue is an excellent slot 2 character. They link very well together. In terms of this guy being in the slot 1, he can intercept whatever attacks necessary, and then at that point it's just a matter of whichever one you want. This unit is a perma stacker, so the more often this unit is around, the stronger that they become. Also, Xeno Trunks is there. Xeno Trunks links very well with the Vegeta, provides some nice support, and also gets guard while being in the slot 2. This is probably going to be the best setup in terms of synergy, in terms of just getting the most out of these characters. And then this last unit is whatever crossover characters are obtainable. I threw in Xeno Pan because she provides extra stats for everybody. She also, I think, gives critical. Yes. She gives all allies chance to crit plus 15%. So that will make your Vegeta's damage potential more consistent. So that is why I put her there, but who knows if she's going to be available on any banner anytime soon. Jiren is a free-to-play. He's just another serviceable piece to throw onto the team. In terms of alternates, it's just whatever heroes characters you've got, whatever crossover characters you've got. So I put together a few here. Free-to-play Toa is going to be a good option because she has orb changing capabilities. She has dodging while in the slot 3. She can also support. So that will be a nice thing to provide your extreme STR Vegeta. That's right. This dude is extreme in both forms. A lot of people were expecting him to be super when he transformed, but it is what it is. So Toa is free to play. You can get her from one of those Dragon Ball Heroes story events. Also, I want to point out that besides the heroes characters, there are crossover characters that are not heroes. So I wanted to show you guys some of those pieces right now. You've got AGL transforming Bardock. This is probably going to get a lot of mileage, but I think STR Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta is going to see a little bit of a rebirth in terms of relevance. Not in terms of how good he is, because his tanking ability is questionable at times. But if you find yourself running a team comprised of this Vegeta plus Universal Blue, you need at least one more crossover to fulfill this guy's passive. This guy right here, this Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, might be the one to do that. So he's there. Where's another one? This guy. These are like some of the units that you see on just regular teams once in a while that also are still crossover. So I just wanted to remind you that there are other units besides heroes that can work. But this is our first team, crossover team. Is it practical? Probably not. Are you going to have all these pieces? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think too many people are going to be running this team. This is definitely not meta. Moving on to our next team, we've got the other side of his leader skill. Instead of crossover, we're focusing more on the Vegeta's family side of things with a little guest star crossover unit right here. So this features the physical 11th anniversary UI Goku. We've also got the Super Saiyan 3 Daima Vegeta in here. We got some nice supports for Realm of Gods and also Vegeta's family. The idea here is to once again allow the Vegeta to function in the slot 1, but should the situation call for it, you have a little bit of wiggle room because now this UI Goku can take on some of that slot 1 responsibility by being either a guaranteed dodge or an indestructible defense. So this will also provide more synergy for the Vegeta if this guy were to transform into this. Since we don't have as much crossover presence here, this guy loses the self negative effect purification ability for 6 turns. Also, he's going to lose a little bit of his tankiness in both forms. So because of that fact, if you move him into slot 2 or 3, you will feel the effect of that stat loss a little bit less. It'll still be noticeable, but it will be far less of an issue because other characters can sort of take on the slack. So here I do have once again the Universal Blue Goku here. This could all be for nothing if this dude doesn't even come back on a banner, but unfortunately this guy is just one of the better pieces to run with this guy in terms of getting his passive going. So it's just a matter of time, I think, based on what they've said before this guy gets an easy A. So if he does, great. If he doesn't, but you still have him, he can still be a useful asset. So if you don't have this unit, some alternates are as follows, like I show here on the right. This guy is actually a really good link buddy, and he works as a good slot 1, slot 2 combo. So instead of running Universal Blue, you just say completely forget about crossover altogether. We just throw in Vegeta Trunks, and now all of a sudden this guy connects great with the floaters, but then also more importantly, you can switch this guy into the slot 2, have this guy take on the burden of the slot 1, and he can provide team stacking to eventually, slowly but surely, sort of offset some of that defensive loss that you have. So Trunks of Vegeta is a great option, one of the better link buddies. I throw in the Xeno Trunks, the new int Xeno Trunks if you have him. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, because we're kind of getting desperate here. If this guy is on the team, with this dude. This guy will provide guard to this unit, making him a more reliable slot 1. This guy, unfortunately, kind of loses some value on these teams as the Goku, because with Goku, you want to have a full super class team, or at least some future saga representation. If not, you're going to lose a little bit his defensiveness. But if you switch him into slot 3 as a floater, then these two suddenly work very well together. And now you could actually do something more like this, but then this guy will be kind of left vulnerable. But depending on the situation, this might be all you need. So there is some wiggle room here if you so choose. And then there's a few more. You got Royal Blue, the Revive unit, and then we kind of dip down beyond the 220 leads, the 220 compatible characters, and we just move into the 170s. So that would be like 11th anniversary, Super Saiyan 4, and then whatever other. Vegeta's family is a pretty vast category, but Vegeta's family plus Time Travelers, Vegeta's family plus Realm of Gods, you're pretty limited. So 1 or 2 characters being at a lower playing field, not that big a deal. But this is probably going to be a much more user-friendly team. Not necessarily no new units wise, but in terms of synergy, oh yeah. Pure Realm of Gods. So now we're moving on to teams where the Vegeta is on another leader skill and not his own. So double Realm of Gods works very well because this unit works as 2 units. You can have them run together, and then you can have Vegeta run alongside, guess who's back? Universal Blue once again. And to fulfill that 3 crossover unit requirement and to give this unit an opportunity for 1 full rotation featuring crossover characters, we could throw in, what's that dude's name? Dark King FU, him? Yeah. So he works on this team because as long as you've got 3 crossover characters, this guy can change orbs to STR, giving a little bit more consistency for both of these units' passives. And also he has a chance to dodge while being in the slot 3, which gives him some maneuverability. Is it great? No. But again, we are trying to accommodate the anchor, the burden that is this dude's crossover requirement. If we want to just say forget it, no crossover, don't care, this unit can become a nice slot 3 piece, and then you can suddenly move this guy into the slot 1 and open up your team to a more conventional sort of setup where you bring in other characters like in UI Super EZA, you bring in AGL UI Goku, or whatever you want to bring, and now all of a sudden this is a much more normal, I guess, looking team with a guest star, which is this dude right here. He's not going to have nearly as much of the same offensive and defensive abilities because as a slot 3 he will not be intercepting attacks, which means he will not be getting an additional super, he will not be getting 30% critical. Also, without the crossover, he has no ability in terms of nullifying negative effects. He also loses, oh no, he doesn't lose this. Yeah, he still gets this. That's the most important thing. Realm of God still works great because he still gets his 300% defense, he still gets 1 super, and he will still have 60% damage reduction before attacking. But you do need to remember, after attacking, he loses this. So he will only have 30% damage reduction with that 300% defense. Will it work on every event? Probably not. But we're trying to fit him on regular teams. And that's what makes this challenging because he's just not a regular unit. He is an extra canonical unit. But Realm of Gods is going to be a nice option. Also, don't forget Realm of Gods on their initial appearance. You also get the extra dodge support. This guy is an extreme character, so he's not going to get the full effect of it, but he will get 7% extra dodge, which could help depending on the situation for whatever reason. So there is that. Alternates, I mean, it's the usual, right? Also, this guy links very well with the God Vegeta, so if you got him, throw him on the team. He can show up and be useful for the first turn at least with the 77% damage reduction. Maybe you want him to transform after a couple of turns so he can float off, but he will link well both in his pre and post transformation with the God Vegeta's Xenoverse. Also, honorary mention, the new free-to-play Tech Shen. This guy is a fantastic slot 1. He will not link well at all. He will just be a slot 1 dodge specialist. Kind of a do or die, but since his dodge percentages are in the mid 90%, more often than not, he's not going to get you killed. So honorary mention for that dude. World Tournament guy who just dropped with this most recent World Tournament. So if you got him, use him. Before moving on to the next team, I will say when I was trying to consider all the different leader skills, I found that when I was trying to assemble a team for Majin Vegeta that would fit this guy, I noticed that there was a bit of a tug of war happening between making sure that this guy's abilities were consistently going as well as this unit. It's a very hard mixture to get these 2 units on the same team with one of them being the lead. So I'm not going to be showing any teams with this guy for right now, but there are ways to make it work on a lower level, like a 170% and whatnot. But that was kind of sad to find out. And again, it just goes back to the fact that this dude is a crossover character. So Anytime you feel like you're on the verge of putting together a team and there's just one or two exceptions that kind of ruin it, it's because of crossover. Crossover is the bane of Dokkan's existence when it comes to team building. It sucks. All right, moving on to the next team here. So we've got Double Daima Mini Super Saiyan 4 Goku. This guy is a demonic power character. There's got to be some sort of explanation from Xenoverse. Oh wait, it's from FU. FU's a demon, so that explains it, right? That's all it is, right? So yeah, he's a demonic power, which is very weird when you look at him. He does not look like a demonic power character, but it's true. So here's our team. The team is without the Universal Blue. I've decided to move him off of the main team since most people may not necessarily have the character. He is an alternate here, but the idea is to set up a good solid foundation with the usuals, and then this dude just sort of works his way in. Since there is no crossover, you really need to be focusing on having him accompanied with a Realm of Gods character, because at least that part of the passive will be covered. So if he is going to be on a rotation, it's either got to be with UI Goku, or got to be this fool in slot 3. Or you could, you know, switch him around to Goku. But one of these two has to be there. So this definitely limits our team building. This limits our rotations. If you want to build a more Realm of God friendly version with this team, you can, because this guy is a Pure Saiyan's Bond of Parent and Child lead. So you do have some great alternates that can come in. You got Super Easy A UI, Int, Super Easy A, Blue Vegeta. You got Universal Blue once again, and here it is. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta does work here because he's a crossover. He is a tank. He is a decent floater. He's not the greatest. He's not going to tank everything in the world. But if you have him in the slot 3, sort of as a rear guard for just the occasional extra attack, he can just get the rotations moving on, right? So he can be a nice piece to fulfill that circuit and get your team, you know, still working without screwing up any abilities. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta again works. This guy, I should also point out, is a very good option as a lead, which we'll get to in a minute, because he's got the extra defense that can add to the tankiness. And if you're running double of him, that will help bolster this guy's defensive abilities. So I do like him. And then, I mean, whatever else you want in the slot 3. There's a lot of different units that you can throw here. This guy's leader skill is very nice. So wait, can we actually see? No, you can't access the leader skill from here. I mean, you guys know this at this point. Like, it's good. Demonic Power, Pure Saiyans, Dragon Ball Seekers, Time Travelers, Bond of Parent and Child. Demonic Power and Time Travelers does create a nice Dragon Ball Heroes sort of pocket section. Let me put that together. Demonic Power and what was it? Time Travelers. Demonic Power, Time Travelers. Let's also do crossover. So look at that. Lot of demons in here. This guy, I didn't add him on a team, but I should point out this guy is also a decent slot 1. He's gonna have 80% damage reduction before attacking if all parts of his conditions are met. So I guess I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I just want to point it out now that I have him here. 80% damage reduction is pretty good. Plus max dodge. Anyway, so this Diamond Mini Super Saiyan 4 is a crossover friendly unit, but we're gonna focus more on the damage. Like, these two will do all the work. We've got some orb changing with Hachiyak Goku. We've got some slot 1 defense and dodging. We've got some extra team dodging. We've got more damage in the slot 3. Good synergy all the way around. Multi-turn support for Demonic Power from both of these. EX multi-turn support from the Daima LR Super Saiyan 4. In terms of damage, we are really making up for what we're losing by not having crossover. Speaking of which, double Vegeta's family lead, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. This guy's main function on any team is to be the floater, so that he provides multi-turn defense with his EX attack by simply just being in slot 3, and he can also provide team guard for any Daima characters you have on the team, Super Daima. But we're mainly doing this just to give this guy more cushioning. Again, you have to have a Realm of Gods unit present. It could either be him or it could be him. Pretty standard run combination here between these two. They work very well together, and then everybody else just falls into place. So there's not much explanation needed here, especially after what I just said. And then in terms of alternates, you could throw in any Vegeta's family character. You could also bring in the Majin Vegeta LR from Saiyan Day if you have that unit. The Int substitute also works. And in terms of having the Trunks required to get his full passive, well, you've got Trunks and Vegeta right here, another user-friendly unit for the God Vegeta. So this is probably one of the easiest teams to build in terms of running the Vegeta on a non-crossover team. So now that we've done all of that, the worst part of the video, the no new units. Ugh. This is a disaster. Now, in terms of no new units, this is my own personal rule that I also use as the basis for a lot of my challenge run videos. No new units basically means, as of the time of me assembling this squad, any character that is obtainable with coins works. But a unit that released within the last couple of months that has not yet officially returned with a coinable purchase, they are not new units, which means 11th anniversary characters don't exist. Also, sort of technically, some of the heroes characters wouldn't work, but you know, we kind of have to draw the line somewhere. This is gonna be rough. So how do we make this work with this guy as the friend lead? Basically Vegeta. It's got to be centered around Vegeta's family, which is what we've done here. So we're getting a Pure Saiyan's gifted warrior dual leader skill from this guy. This guy is the Vegeta's family primary lead, with the sub lead being Realm of Gods Time Travelers. Everybody here fits one of those things. This guy is our lone crossover unit. So if you were to bring in the STR Universal Blue Goku, which is a nice alternate that you could throw in here, that works, but he will not get the secondary leader skill for this guy. So how do we make this work? It would probably have to be something like something like this, maybe something like that. I don't know, probably. I mean, this dude after his first turn is weird. So let's take him out and we'll just throw in Universal Blue. There's our full crossover team. I don't know. That's the best I got, man. That's the best I got. And then our other team, crossover. Will it work? On what? I don't know. I got nothing. I have no words. I don't know what to say. Please give me easy A's. Dokkan, please do the right thing. Give us easy A's. Better late than never. They have not announced easy A's at the start of this celebration, but the least they could do is give us some easy A's next week so that we can do something with this, because good Lord, I'm going to have to break my no new units oath for this seriously serious fight. What the hell is this, man? All right, that's it. Those are some of my best teams that I think you can put together. Good luck with this character. Don't feel pressured to summon too much. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like down below. Let in the comments your thoughts on the teams that I've showed you in this video. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any other teams that you want to shout out? What are some underrated team combinations that would make this Vegeta shine, maybe in or outside of crossover? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more Dokkan content in the future and click the notification bell so that you let YouTube know you want to see more of myself do it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.